And welcome to Wrestling. And this week, it's a great week. We have a lot to talk about. We have wrestling and power struggle. We've got wrestling and New Japan World. We've got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. And when I say us, I mean myself, John Ensman, at John Ensman, and at InRing Art, especially on Instagram, Mr. Justin at InRing Art. How are you, Justin?
Good evening. How are you this
Good evening. Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm dealing with the time change like we all do.
Yeah.
It's kind of brutal in Colorado because it gets just so cold after that time change.
Yeah. It's been
snowed here already.
Cooling down a little bit here, but not too bad yet. We're supposed to get some.
It's been raining, hasn't it?
Yeah. No. Rain actually is supposed to be coming Wednesday, Thursday here, so we'll see. But time change.
Is this the rainiest year LA's ever had?
I don't know. Last year was pretty good.
But wasn't this the year where you got flooded and stuff, or was that? No, that was last year.
Last year, yeah. Well, yeah, last year.
Like last winter?
Into the beginning of this year. Yeah.
Okay.
You had a lot of
but then
rain.
you had the little mini hurricane, too.
That was in August of this year.
Yeah, so it's been a weird one for sure.
Yeah, the only thing
I think
is
we're
that it gets dark at like 5 o'clock out here now.
Yeah, same
Which
thing.
I don't
actually
mind.
when I
like that.
I don't like it because I'm a second shift worker. I wake up at 3, and so it's really demotivating. Yeah, exactly. It's really demotivating to wake up at 3 and the sun is like starting to kiss the mountains. Already about to, the sunset starts happening, and it's really fucks me up because my first break, like it's nighttime.
Yeah,
So
I kind of dig the dark, so it's not that bad.
Well, I like the dark too. It's weird, but since I sleep in so much, like I love the summer, waking up late and still having sunlight for an extra 3-4 hours.
Right.
So, but it is what it is. It's part of the world. Although there was something in the government about this, but I feel like it just never went through or something. Like you heard about that, right? We might have even talked about it on the show.
I think the California is supposed to stop it next year, but I don't remember if that's true.
So California is going to pull in Arizona.
Yeah. I mean, right.
I
just wish there
went to Arizona.
One.
Yeah, I mean, it would be fine. Like, and I think the one they would pick is the one we're in now. And so in the summer, yeah, it would get dark at 8 o'clock, not 9 o'clock. And I'm fine with that,
Yeah, I mean, just pick one. I don't care which one it is, to be honest. But I do like, because, I get up early to go to work, and I like it not to be pitch dark when I get to work. But other than that,
I get it. I mean, before the time change, it's 7 o'clock and it's dark still.
Yeah, it's more of nighttime borrowing time that is daylight savings, really.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and besides the whole thing, like, I've heard, like, even it's for the farmers, like, no, like, they don't even want it, so it's like, fuck it. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird American thing.
Farmers get up early anyway. I don't understand. I never understood that. Farmers are up early.
Well, and also farmers, like, the clock don't even really matter with the farmer. Yeah. What matters is, like, when you can be outside working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the important thing. It's a clock. But, however, I always tell people this, some random trivia here, that we should be thankful as Americans because China has one time zone, brother. And China's a really wide country.
Yeah.
So living on the west part of China, I mean, you're waking up for work at 2:30 p.m. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's your morning. Like shit, like it's really bad. So at least we have some semblance of a system. But besides that, that's a little complaint. All wrestling fans deal with that, of course. I like when SmackDown starts at 6. Still light outside, and when SmackDown's done, it's still light outside. It's a different time period. Do you remember about 4 or 5 years ago when WWE got snowed out? Is that it's very in my mind, but maybe it's just a random raw.
I don't.
It was in the Northeast, like it was in Connecticut or Massachusetts or something.
What did they preempt? Did they preempt it with something?
So what they did was they just filmed it from the Titan Towers, and they just had little vignettes. So I remember one was Dean Ambrose was walking through Titan Towers and he's like, I'm going to go for the Intercontinental Champion because he was looking at people on the walls and stuff. But no, my main point is like, we haven't seen something like that happen in a long ass time, you know?
Other than like the Thunderdome.
Well, COVID don't even count. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I vaguely remember something like that, but not really. But that sounded pretty cool.
It was actually kind of cool the way they did it. You know, they got like 4 or 5 wrestlers. They flew them into the training center, or not the training center, the headquarters. You know, and they did. No, but that's reminding me of Money in the Bank during COVID when they did it in the building. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Which, like, I was the only one that liked, but whatever. It was a dude that jumped off the building. Like, there was a guy, Rey Mysterio, I think, got thrown off the building.
It was all leading to going up to the roof where the ring was, right?
Yeah. Something. And I was pretty sure Rey Mysterio got thrown right off the edge. And, like, he was wrestling the next week. But I remember that, you know, I will say there's a little bit of a nostalgia for that because that was when Asuka won. And then she was given the title by winning. She won the title.
Yeah, and also just that whole time, like, any kind of, like, semblance of normal that we were getting was, like, special, right? You know, we felt like, oh, it feels, they're going to do it with Money in the Bank and it's going to be live, and we just felt like that was special because we were all kind of in the heart of being, you know, in the stay-at-home stuff, you know?
It's almost traumatic talking about it. I'm sure we'll do another Wrestling in COVID one day looking back. Hopefully, we'll be able to look back. You know what I mean? And,
one of the early episodes was that, but now that we have so much
it's
more
so different
spaced away, the reflections would be different.
Exactly. And again, hopefully in our lifetimes, that's the last time that we go through that. Although, we never know. So a lot of cool stuff happened this week. We had the cool thing I wanted to talk about as far as Big Show goes is Power Struggle, and we won't jump right into that, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
What were you gonna say?
No. I was just, you know, you said Big Show, so whenever I hear someone say Big Show, I always go, well.
You know what? They just did that on AEW this week. He says, like, we got a real big show coming up. That was like one of the Bucks said that. And I thought the same thing. Yeah. And isn't Kenny Omega wrestling with the Big Show?
Is he?
I think they are.
Come out and do something for a minute.
Except, like, when the way he was standing he looked like fucking, like, Tenzon. Like, worse than Tenzon. Like, his legs were at weird angles and shit.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Paul White.
He's been putting that's a big body to go out there and do the stuff he did for a while. And, you know, he did lose all that weight in recent years. I think he put a little bit back on, but he's still in, you know, way better shape than he was, you know, I don't know.
I mean, that guy, when your body is like that, it's a whole different world. I hope the best for him. Yeah. But yes, we are going to see, where is this here? In Ontario, California on November 15th.
Uh-huh.
Are you going?
No.
I would. Yeah. Those shows are fun. But I wonder if my sister's going because she lives there. But okay, let's see this. It's just the funniest match, dude. Okay, it's going to be Omega, Jericho, Ibushi, and Paul White versus Takeshita, Hobbs, Fletcher, and Sammy Guevara.
All right. Yeah, you know, I did see that, actually. That's funny.
I laughed when I heard that, but I mean, hopefully, you know, Paul White will just stand on the corner the whole time. He might punch somebody.
He'll get a hot tag and clear the ring, you know.
Yeah. We know he's not going to take a fucking bump. Yeah. Like, I don't want him to.
You know, I was, you know, kind of speaking of the whole AEW being here next week, and that's pretty cool and all, but you know, I was like, how much are the tickets? I was looking, and $62. I'm like, that's, and that's the nosebleeds. I'm like, I was just thinking,
really?
Yeah.
Ooh, for California, they're expensive for there.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, like, I'd rather watch wrestling on TV in most instances anyway.
That's,
you know.
Well, yeah, I like AEW shows. One was okay, and the second I went to was great. And then, that Ring of Honor show was amazing.
Yeah, no, unless you have like a nice intimate show, the arena wrestling shows, the big arena wrestling shows, even, when we had some pretty good.
How big is the Toyota Center or whatever?
It's like a mini Staples Center. Yeah. So think it was about the size of this, what we were at with no upper level, maybe,
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe a little smaller. I think it's about 10 to 12,000 seats. Who plays there? The Kings minor league affiliate, the Ontario Reign, play there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a nice little arena from what I hear. I've never been there. Never been to an AEW show yet, so one of these days I have to do it. But and it being
yeah, they're fun as hell, dude.
Yeah,
they were. I will say that first couple of years, those shows were a little weird. Like you were seeing big swole, just not that great. Some wrestlers were not very good, But since then, like all the wrestlers are good now.
Yeah, they are, and last two wrestling shows I've been to. Well, I went to 2 this year. Was PWG Battle of Los Angeles Night 1, and then the GCW show in June. So those are the 2 wrestling shows.
NXT Stand and Deliver.
NXT Stand and Deliver, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah. That too. So I've been to 3 this year.
Yeah.
How can I forget?
I'm wearing the shirt. I'm wearing the shirt right now.
Oh, are you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I still got it, of course. But yeah, I mean, I like, it was another thing too. I'm a huge fan of hip hop, rap music, and all that stuff. But I hate going to rap concerts because I think they always sound terrible.
Oh yeah, no, okay, I get you, and I'm a musician, right? Like, and I actually agree. Like even a lot of rock shows, I would rather just listen to the album. Like as far as rap goes, yeah, I've seen Snoop Dogg live, and it was pretty unremarkable.
Yeah. It's just because a lot of it's the canned sound. They're not usually using live music and whatnot. But with pro wrestling, it's not like GCW, PWG, those small, intimate, just kind of warehouse shows I'll go to and love to watch in person, of course. But I'm talking about like arena wrestling, like going to see, Raw or something at the Staples Center or Crypto.com or whatever it's called, or Forum? Going to WrestleMania and sitting in the nosebleeds would be a fun experience, but it's definitely not great for actually watching wrestling.
But there is a scale. There's a continuum there. There's a gradient. I mean, you got your GCWs and there, but I would not compare AEW to other like a lot of WWE shows just because they don't sell as many tickets and they hit smaller arenas generally. So, I mean,
right.
They are arena shows, but I've never been to an AEW show where it was some weird view or anything. It's always a pretty great view.
Right. Well, maybe we'll see, but still a lot of money, and going down to the Forum is such a pain in the ass. The parking sucks, and it's kind of hard to get to. But
I think you owe it to yourself one day, bro. I think you got to go one day because they are pretty damn fun. Mm-hmm. Even the TV recordings, and I mean that ROH show that I saw at the Galen Center, that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that maybe because it's ROH and ROH, is not AEW, but the ROH pay-per-view tickets were the same price as the AEW tickets. So I don't know what's up with that.
Maybe because they were all kind of better seats because it was a smaller venue,
Oh, it is smaller? The
Galen Center is smaller than the Forum, yeah. I think the Galen Center Forum's probably about 16,000, 17,000, and maybe, I don't know what they do these days.
Okay.
But I remember just from a kid, for hockey, it used to do 16,005 for hockey. I don't know since they've renovated it, if they reduced the number of seats or whatever. But
they renovated what?
When they renovated the Forum, when they
okay,
years ago.
Yeah.
But Galen Center, I think, is only about 10,000, and it's more of a smaller, kind of intimate, basketball.
The Galen Center is like a giant ass concrete block with seats in it.
Right. But
like the hallways are just concrete.
Well,
the bathrooms
you're
are
at
just
the
concrete.
Crypto.com arena versus that.
Yeah, that was nice.
And Crypto.com is obviously a bigger, huger, more cavernous arena.
No, but even the First Bank Center in Colorado is a little more luxurious. The Galen Center was seriously, it was like concrete blocks.
Right.
It reminded me of being in prison.
They have that cool skyline window though too.
Oh, okay.
At the Galen Center, you didn't see it where there's just like a window.
I didn't see that. No, we sat on like the south end or north end or whatever and looked down.
Maybe
so it might have been there,
something. But I don't know.
Also, there was a lot of crazy screaming people there that night. It was really full.
Oh, I don't doubt that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah, okay. So we got we were talking about Paul White wrestling.
Yes.
Like we said, he'll be in California. He'll do a little thing. I'm sure he'll punch someone, like you said, with the hot tag.
You know, it's funny. And, I've been kind of in the background this week running a lot of Halloween Havocs the last couple of weeks, the Survivor Series, and you know they had that
watching some old Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. Well, they're all old, right? At this point.
Yeah, but there's NXT ones from the last few years.
Oh yeah, I wasn't watching any of those, but you know, the one where he was in the monster truck with
We're talking WCW?
Yeah, the monster truck with Hulk Hogan.
Oh jeez, man. Wow. Let's see, Halloween Havoc what?
95 maybe, something like that. 95, I would guess. 94.
And what did he do with the monster truck and who drove it? Can you explain a little more?
No, not really. Like I said, I had it in the background. It's not even worth talking about. It was so bad, but you know, they basically were trying to run each other off of the roof of Cobalt Hall or whatever.
What?
Yeah, it was I don't even, it was so silly. It was really bad. I don't know what they were doing, but you know, I think
Hulk Hogan versus the Giant, Halloween Havoc, and I see a monster truck here.
Yeah.
So Paul White was like a kid back then.
Oh yeah, we forget how young he was when he was kind of just thrown out there because he was so big.
Yeah, I'm looking at little things about this. This is pretty fucking ridiculous. Jimmy Hart's running around, fucking people driving monster truck. What the hell? They were having a monster truck battle?
Yeah.
What?
Silly, right?
Holy shit, bro. That is amazing. There's a Hulk monster truck. Okay. Anyways, like you said, the less said, the better.
Exactly.
Although I do recommend people go watch that because you ain't going to see that kind of money in any wrestling nowadays.
Bad wrestling is fun too sometimes. It's just how ridiculous it is. You know.
I mean, the closest thing I've seen to that is like Charlotte Flair coming into the arena in a helicopter, you know?
Yeah, but that was, you know, that wasn't like, that was just an entrance.
But also, didn't that company like spend didn't WCW like spend ridiculous amounts of money on shit and they didn't have the revenue to cover it?
No, they would pay freaking Michael Buffer $30,000 to come announce, you know, ring announce.
Yeah.
And, you know.
You know, Michael Buffer's still going, too. Guy's got to be like 70.
And I understand he was a huge name and stuff like that, but you do that 10, 11, 12 90s? Times. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I actually, dude, I actually have this, like, philosophy. I take that back. Michael Buffer is 80.
Wow.
I have this philosophy about announcers. Like, WWE has this thing where, like, no announcer is safe, right? No announcer is ever safe. There's been a few, like Lillian Garcia. She left big, on her own terms, yeah. You have this current one, Samantha Irvine, who is pretty popular. She's good. And then even Justin Roberts was well known and stuff. But it's like, no one's safe. They switch people out all the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just, in the Vince days, he would just get sick of hearing somebody's voice and say, get somebody new.
But isn't the whole thing like that is part of your brand? And WWF knew that back in the day.
Well, they had
like
Fink,
they had Fink, and most fighting companies know this. Like, there's a few announcers that do, like most boxing. Yeah, UFC has one guy, Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer's brother, who got the job because his brother was famous. And, you know, he does the same introduction every time. I feel like your announcer should be part of your brand, right?
Yeah, I think so. Just like your commentary team is.
Yeah. And that's one reason I do appreciate AEW, because you've got two people. You got Justin, who's great, probably one of the best announcers in the business, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's good.
And then you have Dasha on Saturdays, and it is what it is. You're not like thinking, okay, who's that? And the other thing is, I have a complaint. I don't like the NXT announcer. I'm just going to say that she's not good.
Can't say.
I just wanted to bring
I've heard much. I don't remember anything.
Do you even remember her?
Nope. I don't really.
No, she's like a lady with a deeper voice.
Doesn't really stand out to me in wrestling. I mean, I know when there's a good one and stuff, and I can tell, but it doesn't really ring with me too much. No pun intended.
Really, I really like. I really noticed that stuff. Like, I really like Stardom's announcer, that woman. Mm-hmm. And of course, New Japan's had a couple guys. I'm sure we both love them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Tadashi, Hiroshi, that sort of stuff.
It's great. Yeah.
So, Abe, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They've had a few guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of New Japan, let's move on to the sequel to a topic we were talking about, and sadly, a huge disappointment, in my opinion. We're going to talk about NJPW World 2.0.
Yeah, have you played with it yet? Is it on in the Apple yet? I haven't looked, but I did.
I think.
No, I got it on Apple. I got it on Apple. Yeah, I did, and I watched.
Was it on the store?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and you watched what?
I just kind of was thumbing around with Power Struggle.
Okay.
And let me go back on it now. I'm on it now. I hope it has where I left off. Otherwise, it's trash. Recently watched. No results found. Oh, wait. What the hell?
Yeah, there's major issues, bro. And when I talk about some of these things, I'm interested in your opinion.
I did find it. Oh, no, I got it. There you go. It did go to where I was, but I had to kind of dig a little bit.
All right. So can we jump into this?
Is it on PlayStation now?
And that's the thing. No, I don't think it's on anything extra, dude.
It's in the Android store, and the app is on Apple. I re-downloaded it on,
and it's on Roku still.
Yeah, and I re-downloaded the one on Fire Stick. I haven't messed with it. I just signed in, and I had to change my password. I'll look. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna go into it now. I have Survivor Series 97 on right now in the background with no sound. I'm gonna go on live to it on my Fire Stick and see what the video quality looks like, even though I have a shitty projector that's playing it. That's why I'm wondering if it's in the PlayStation Store.
So I don't see anything about it being in the PlayStation Store at all.
That's or Xbox? It should be an Xbox, right? Because that's a Windows. And it's on
iOS, Android, and Roku TV, buddy.
Yeah.
I actually feel like this has been a downgrade in some ways. So one of the first things I want to talk about is something most people don't care about, and that is the back library, right?
Mm-hmm.
So about a month ago, I was watching Vader matches, right?
Right.
And New Japan had on New Japan World, there was probably about 10 Vader matches, right? And they had Vader's first match with Inoki. They had Vader's last match with Inoki, 15 years later. Now, there are 3 Vader matches on New Japan World.
Right. Well, I think part of that is just like when, WWE went to Peacock.
They changed some stuff.
But
they've added a lot of that stuff.
They had to re-add stuff. But yeah, slowly they started adding everything back in. So I'm playing Power Struggle now. The one thing I don't like, and it's something that was inconsistent. Oh, wait. It is continuing where I left off. Okay, that's good. Okay. But then I can't really find it.
But that was not. That's not new though.
No. Whenever I stopped watching something in the middle on the Fire Stick, right? App, I would have to just make a mental note or write down my time mark. So when I went back to watch it later, it would play in the same. I had to fast forward it to the same spot.
Okay, that's annoying. Another thing, and I want to tell you like the outline of this. What I think happened is I think New Japan has bought a pre-made streaming service kind of UI. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, they probably just bought one that was already built out or some type of generic frame.
Something for streaming, right? And so what happens is we click on, I'm going to click on here. I'm going to click on Dominion. Okay.
Yeah.
Dominion. So now we have a bar that says seasons and episodes, right?
Right.
Which sounds like Peacock. There is no seasons. And we see that Dominion has no seasons, as if there was never another Dominion. Now I click on something like G1 Climax Final, and I've got all these episodes here of the G1. So it's a little weird. Like, why is there no G1 Climax Final seasons that I can watch? I'm just confused by it.
Yeah, I think it's something that they're still working on that they just released too early. But yeah, why can't I just search G1 and find all the years right in front of me?
Which I think you could kind of do before in a janky way. So when I hit Power Struggle Super Junior League, I hit episodes. Yeah, we have every one from this year, but what about the Power Struggles from years past? Oh,
look, dude, I have it right in front of me right now. So I went to G1 Climax. Hold on. What are you doing right now? Okay, now it's doing it. Oh, yeah.
By the way, there's only 2 Power Struggles on the entire service that I can find, and it's like this year's.
So I go to the G1 Climax. See, that's 2023. It says series. View all.
Mm-hmm. And it's all of this.
This is cool.
It's all of this.
Giving everyone a look. Yeah, and then I go to episodes of G1 Climax 33, and it is every week. It's listed, but it doesn't tell me anything else.
So that's cool, but I want to watch G1 Climax.
Oh, I get you. And when I say series,
98,
it should episodes. There should also be like seasons, and I can go into all the different.
The seasons should be the year after year, right?
Yeah, right. But now it doesn't.
It could be then I go to.
They just haven't loaded them all yet.
I hope that it's that. Because so I'll look up Best of the Super Juniors. I spelled it wrong, and there's no autocorrect. So we'll notice that first of all. Then I type it in correctly, Best of the Super Juniors, and nothing comes up. Okay, so I try BOSJ, nothing comes up.
Huh. And another thing too, that they would do this here and there. They would put the individual matches out through the G1, so they would.
That's what I wanted to say. That's one of the issues. Is I found G1 95, right?
Yeah.
And there is no series. There's nothing. There's one match.
Yeah, that could just be them not loading yet. But no, they've had instances where you're able to. You would click on a file and you would scroll, and then all of a sudden it would have all the matches on there, and you could just forward to it. And then they stopped doing that, and then sometimes they would split up the matches so you could just watch the matches, and they stopped doing that consistently. So I don't know. Like, I just want to watch one match. I shouldn't have to fast forward and find the time mark.
Yeah. Yeah, and just some more examples, Justin, as I searched Kenny Omega, and you have 1 documentary and 2 matches that popped up. If you search for Chris Jericho, nothing pops up at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just haven't put everything on here yet, and they're still uploading it. And
yeah, I hope that's the case, but they've had months to do this. They announced it months ago. I think that this is actually a downgrade for now. We'll see if it's better on your apps, but I wanted a PlayStation app. I wanted more content, I pay for this, so do you, and my price has been raised.
Yeah.
Which isn't crazy. I accept that because, right, they've kept that same price through COVID and inflation and everything.
It's still a bargain for what you get, as long as they don't go put anything in the higher tier. So yeah, so actually,
as long as
I'm in, just to tell you, so I'm in recently watched tab, and there's 4 different headings: movies, and I have no available content at the moment. Series, and then it has Power Struggle where I left off. Episodes, and then it has Power Struggle.
Listen to this, people. Guys, listen to this, listeners. Like, listen to how confusing he's describing this. Series.
Well, it should be like, first of all, recently watched should just be right there on the main menu. It shouldn't be a side tab. It should be right underneath all their like live and schedule. Right underneath that should be recently watched. And then you have your new releases, recommended, ranking, free video, series. Why on this main menu when I go on, I don't have my recently watched thing? I have to go to the left.
Exactly.
And then I have to go down to recently watched. And then when I do that, it's not there right away. I don't need anything split with movies, series, episodes. Just have all the stuff I was watching there. Like every other streaming service, from Netflix to Hulu to Peacock to your cock to their cock,
We're talking WWE Network here.
Which
in fact, even
in your country, at least.
even wrestling universe in Japan.
I hear that's excellent, actually.
That one, like, since I first checked it out, is the best. Like the technology is on par with American. It's 1080p, like 60 frames per second a lot of times, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
Yeah. Stardom is a little more on par with New Japan World. And even on Stardom, they don't even put out live shit until the next day a lot of times.
Now, Wrestle Universe, and, that has Noah and Dragon Gate.
And... No, it's Noah, DDT, Tokyo Joshi Pro, and every company under that umbrella, which is like Gambare. But the main ones are DDT, Tokyo Joshi Pro, and Noah.
Like, so New Japan has, TV Asahi, or whatever their broadcasting entity is, right? Does Wrestle Universe and all those companies underneath that umbrella have a certain network they're on?
I don't know about a certain network. All I know is that they're owned by Abema, which is a bigger company than Bushiroad, from what I've heard. But that's really all I know. I don't know if they have a broadcasting partner per se. I know that Samurai TV shows like New Japan and all this stuff, but
got you.
I don't know. I just know Abema, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, that is... I'm on their website now, and it's just like even the logos for the matches and stuff are just a step above.
And another thing, too, why would they launch it when there's nothing going on right after a show?
Yeah.
They should have launched it at
the answer
Power
is
Struggle, I guess?
The answer is Tokyo Dome's coming up. That's why.
Well, they should have done it. Yeah, I guess he wanted to give people some time to get it all downloaded and ready. So, but I guess they are kind of releasing it for... What is World Tag League next week?
God, yeah. Something like that. November, I mean, that's the last thing before...
Oh, there's this show...
And do we have teams yet?
No. World Tag League... What is this? November 20th. World Tag League. Ooh, I can set a reminder.
There you go.
It starts November 20th.
Okay.
So they better get those.
So there are... Let me say this. There are kind of cool little things, and one of the little things is you can add favorites, which is cool. I like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's something. Okay.
So it's something, right? I can go back and look at all my favorite
Kenny
matches.
Omega matches to your favorites,
Yeah. No, and I went through it. I watched an amazing Nakamura versus Shelton Benjamin and Suzuki. Just great match. Amazing match. Nakamura and who else? Oh, it was Nakamura and Ishii versus Shelton Benjamin and I want to say this though. After watching that match, you know how we're all like, Ishii is one of the best wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, some people say that. Yeah,
bro, he was like that good before we started watching him. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you watch him from like 2013. He was doing all the same shit.
No, I mean he's just this reliable, consistent guy.
Just wild. Yeah, there's a lot of argument about him being in the Hall of Fame, and people are just saying that his skills are, even though he was never a huge champion or drew a big house, that his skills are so high that he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Do you have an opinion on that?
The Hall of Fame, like Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame for Japan, right?
The Observer Hall of Fame, which is kind of the Observer Hall of Fame is kind of the main Hall of Fame because I mean it's worldwide. You have your American, Japanese, Mexican, and it's also voted by wrestlers, former referees, anyone in the business. So it's considered kind of serious,
Yeah, I would put him in there, I guess. I mean, he's obviously not a household name to 99% of wrestling fans.
Even Japanese people.
Well, Japanese people, I would like to think he's pretty well known.
I doubt it, bro. I mean,
really?
He's kind of a mid-carder for like that's like expecting any American to know who Drew McIntyre is. Like no one knows who fucking Drew McIntyre is, dude.
But I mean, I would probably see a list of all the I don't know. It's like
go ask Maria if she knows who Ishii is.
Well, she's asleep probably right now, but she probably would from my incessant
yeah, she's heard the name.
She's heard the name, and she's seen the Stone Pitbull guy with no neck and the high up pants.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure your whole family knows, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That's my opinion.
I feel like it's a real not gatekeepery, but very inside kind of thing where I don't think you're necessarily supposed to consider the fact that no one knows who Drew McIntyre is.
You kind of are because there's it's a Hall of Fame. It's supposed to take in multiple things to account. And one of those is influence. One of those is how good of wrestlers are. The other is how much money they drew. Because wrestling,
right. So wrestling is about drawing money like movie stars, right? So, guys that are well-respected actors that make a bunch of art house films and they get nominated to win Oscars, but no one ever sees their movies.
Well, or even on the flip side, the extremely popular movie that influenced everyone. That's a really shitty movie and has bad acting and stuff. But it was so fucking and that's the Hulk Hogan, right?
Right, Hulk Hogan versus I don't know Bret Hart. Let's say I don't know. Comparing the two.
Yeah, Bret Hart being this artistic, still popular, but not a phenomenon in the same sense.
Yeah.
But 1,000 times more skilled.
Right, and a way better wrestler and performer. But, yeah.
Yeah, so Ishii, it's it reminds me of that art house film you're talking about. It's one of the best movies you've seen over and over. The director's incredible. Not a ton of people watch him. But the quality is so high that it has to be recognized, right?
Yeah.
That's my kind of deal. So yeah, we'll see where that goes. So just to back off, we kind of did a thing. So this New Japan World, Justin and I'm still skeptical of it, Justin. We don't have much of a choice because it is what it is, right?
Yeah. We don't have much of a choice. I don't have a vote in the first. Do you have a vote in the Hall of Fame?
No, I don't have any Bushi League stock.
Right, but
we might want to get some.
If I'm talking about my own personal experience with wrestling, I feel like a guy like Ishii has he is a very he's always used as a measuring stick, and it's if you can't have a good match with this guy, then forget it. He's had great matches with pretty much every big star in New Japan.
Every mid-carder in New Japan too.
I mean, he's had great matches with Okada. He's had great matches with Kenny Omega.
Nakamura. He has great matches with I actually feel like Omega's one of his like weirder.
That U.S. title match was fantastic, though.
Okay, that one was. I thought the G1 that was one of those like because he beat him in the G1. They wrestled afterwards.
Yeah, and he got his title shot.
They've had, but no, he's just, dude. I mean, he comes to America, has the best matches often, like great matches. Yeah, and I want to say this other thing about Ishii, and here's, we have these wrestlers that play their greatest hits, right? Your Suzuki, right?
Yeah.
They come out, they do the same shit. And sometimes, like, I remember after Ishii was making all this storm, I saw a few matches where it was just his normal shit, right? And I was like, this is sad. He got so popular, but he's just going to do his normal shit. But then you come to find out, like, not only is his normal shit so good that it works every time, but he always has something new to surprise you too. As in like, it's not always predictable what Ishii's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a template, but I don't know how to say it, but it's like how Ospreay, you can always count.
So different.
Yeah, and let's say Ospreay now. I mean, obviously this guy is, not to give too much of a preview, but the guy, it'd be very difficult for him not to be Wrestler of the Year in our little circle.
Yeah. I mean, and then that's the two, Wrestler of the Year, and even if you would say Wrestler of the Year, and then you would have your best Wrestler of the, there's like Wrestler of the Year who's like the best talker, the best, the best wrestler, sure. And then there's like most outstanding. Like I think this guy's gonna win both this year.
Yeah, and the thing about Ishii that just kind of makes him, he's just so reliable. Like,
yeah,
he's not gonna be your main star, but he's gonna give you quality whenever he's out there. It's not gonna be like, all-time great, although some of them are pretty amazing.
Some of them are, yeah.
Like the G1 match with Shibata or whatever, but
oh god. There's almost too much to list. Like if we start talking about all his stuff in America, everything, like it's ridiculous.
Just consistent, kind of, not mind blowing, but in terms of just like, yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
I know what you mean, bro.
He's reliable.
Bro, go listen. If you're listening to this and if you do know a lot about New Japan, or if you don't, go watch him versus Ishii. Like, go look up one of those matches, or go look up Ishii versus TJ or Zack Sabre, and go see like how he can wrestle with any style and how good he is. So go watch that. Go watch that, people. Okay, we're talking about Ishii. Let's make a little nice little segue here into Ishii and Hiroshi Tanahashi and Okada versus Zack Sabre Jr., Shane Haste, and Mikey Nichols. Did you watch that one? Never 6-man tag team match?
Yes.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
I mean, look who's in it, right?
Yeah. And I wish I wouldn't have minded a title switch at that point.
I wouldn't have minded one either. Although Okada, Ishii, and Tanahashi is like in kayfabe, like an unbeatable team in a way.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, unless someone fucks up Tanahashi.
Right. I mean, yeah. And I'd love to see, they're going to have to do something with it before Wrestle Kingdom because he's got Bryan Danielson in the singles match, right?
Oh, that's true. Hopefully.
I wonder if they'll drop it on World Tag League final or something.
Yeah. They're. I don't think this team's gonna be defending those at Wrestle Kingdom. So yeah. Speaking of that, the Danielson match. I have opinions on this. What do you think about this? I mean, besides the fact that, like, hell yes.
Honestly, I'm not getting too deep about it. I know some people are like kind of skeptical of it, but I'm just really excited to see Bryan Danielson in the Tokyo Dome. And
you know what shocked me about Bryan Danielson, bro, is we've always known how good he is, right? Like we've always known, right?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, since we started watching, we didn't see his rise through the indies.
Right.
But if you go to Cage Match, dude, and you look up AEW, like the top 10 matches are Bryan Danielson matches, dude. They're not Kenny Omega matches.
Really?
Yeah. That like almost every match is Bryan Danielson match. And I was looking through them and I was like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Like it's like Danielson versus Zack Sabre, Danielson versus Okada, Danielson versus Omega, Danielson versus
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, you go back and watch those matches, you're like, God, this guy is almost even better than I gave him credit for. And that's not saying I agree with everything they say on Cage Match, but it's just like I almost took him for granted in a way. Like, yeah, he's from WWE, he's really great, you know. So we'll see. I'm pretty paranoid about his injuries. Were you watching Daniel Bryan when he came back from his injuries in WWE and he like he couldn't wrestle and shit, and then he said he was retired? Did you watch that period?
Yeah, I did.
That was hard to watch, dude.
Yeah, and leading up to when he won that ladder match, right, for WrestleMania, where he won the IC title.
Yeah. And then he was like in the Royal Rumble for a minute, right?
Yes.
I might be getting it mixed up. But like he had his injury, he came back and then like he retired. And I just remember it was hard to watch, dude, because you're like, this guy's going to die. And I'm starting to feel that way again. Like every couple months, it's something else, bro.
Well,
I'm not an athlete. I don't know.
It's not, an eye orbit is one thing. And it was just, this one was kind of a run of a broken arm and an eye orbit. It wasn't a head. An eye orbit.
And that's what people,
freak injuries.
That's what Meltzer says is like, nah, it's one thing if you injure the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Like, but if you're like Adam Cole, it's like an ankle or a fucking orbital. Like that's random.
Yeah, I think his last few injuries were very random and just kind of.
But then again, how random is it? Because fucking Okada gives 100 people a body splash every year.
Yeah,
one guy that he breaks his arm. That scares me, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of when he came back and he was doing those drop kicks into the, he does
the corner.
Yeah, into the corner where he basically lands on the back.
Flipping drop kicks.
Yeah, those made me really nervous when he first came back, and it was like, yeah, maybe you don't have to do that.
So I think that they figured it out, though. I think that because Danielson could work a Zack Sabre Jr. style the rest of his life. You know what I mean?
If he wanted to. For sure.
So I think they figured it out because notice the story of this Danielson match is I'm going to break your arm, right? That's the story. So I think we're going to see a very, very technical style here with not all sorts of psycho knees and fucking headbutts off the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it'll work. It'll be good. And like I said, I'm very excited to see a Bryan Danielson Tokyo Dome entrance. I think that'll be a lot of fun. And I'm just not dissecting it any deeper than that because, that's just something I choose to focus on.
You should just take a step back as a wrestling fan and just enjoy what you can enjoy.
Like you're getting Bryan Danielson at the Tokyo Dome. How cool is that? And, him wrestling Okada, you could say, oh, the first one wasn't that good. They don't seem to have good chemistry. All that.
I liked it. I thought it was great.
Oh, it was fine. It was fine. It was great.
I didn't even know he broke his arm, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It was a good match. It was good. It was amazing. But
it wasn't like a Okada classic, but it was a very good match.
Yeah, and I think this one should be better. Just on the fact that both of them hopefully will get through it without having a broken limb. And yeah, I mean, man, I just think it's cool that he's going to be out there in the Tokyo Dome.
I love it.
It's not quite like him being in the G1, but it's pretty damn close.
It's not quite like that, but also I don't want the guy in the G1. Right? I don't want him in the G1, dude. Let Eddie Kingston go back into the G1. Like, not Danielson. Eddie Kingston has shown that his body is a fucking rock. All right? I mean, the dude's defending his title every week.
Yeah, but he's pretty worn out by it, I could tell.
Can you?
Yeah, I think he had to come home and have surgery, and I think he had a little bit of an injury he's been dealing with. He's been banged up. I know that lately.
I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, I've heard he's been banged up because he had to stop doing indies.
Okay, he just wrestled for New Japan today, didn't he?
No, I know, but he's been not doing any indies. New Japan, well, I guess some people will call it an indie out here, mainly MJF. But no, he stopped doing all the indies.
Okay. Interesting.
No, but I think he was a little banged up when he came back, of course.
Well, that's okay. Jeff Hardy doesn't do indies.
Yeah, that's true. But
except he is doing one indie this year. He's doing WrestleCade, but that's because I just listened to Matt Hardy's podcast. Highly recommend it, people, if you want positivity in your life. And
he's doing it? He's fully back and everything, right?
Matt Hardy?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Jeff.
No, I don't think Jeff wants to talk like on a fucking podcast, dude.
Okay.
No, I listen to Matt Hardy's podcast. It's like the most positive wrestling podcast you could ever. All he does is say good things. You know,
okay.
He'll be like, "Yeah, I wasn't called for Dynamite this week, so I'm extremely happy. I got to hang out with my kids at home." You know what I mean? It's just like, it's all great stuff. He's yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to go on about that. I would rather talk more about Power Struggle. The next topic I want to move on to is there's a lot, man. So we had that 6-man tag team championship. Now we're going to talk about one of the biggest changes, perhaps a much bigger change than Wrestling World. What could this change be? What has changed about New Japan shows, Justin, that is a major change that we haven't seen in years? Can you guess?
No. Tell me.
Walker.
Oh, yes. We have a new announcer. Yes.
I got some stuff to say here. Mm-hmm. And Walker, what's his last name?
Stewart.
Walker Stewart.
Yeah.
If you're listening here, you probably know more about wrestling than me. What do you think, Justin?
What do I think of his announcing? What did I think? I thought
so far.
I think he did a great job. I know he's got a learning curve. He's got a long way to go. The guy's only 21 years old. Think about that.
Okay, that's kind of crazy. I didn't know that.
He's 21. I know.
Didn't know that.
That was his first trip of his life he's ever taken to Japan.
Okay, so you seem to know some recon on this guy. Do you know where he was wrestling or where he was announcing before? Was he doing football or baseball or college sports? Or
I know he has some type of wrestling background. I can tell in the way he does it. People are saying his knowledge isn't quite there, the product, and that's fine. He's going to learn. But I couldn't imagine myself at 21 years old being launched into that level of a profession like that. So let's give him, he's got a good sounding voice. He sounds like...
You say that level, but this is New Japan. We're not talking WWE, man.
What do you mean?
I mean, this is... What I'm saying is, like, you say this level, that level, but we're talking low money wrestling compared to other
I mean, he's
companies.
Been given the responsibility to work for an international company and announce to, a good, I don't know.
To a hardcore fan base, I will say
people?
That. Yeah, of like I said, hardcore fans.
Yeah, but that's...
Because if you're a New Japan fan, like, you're not...
Those in this world where you're open for scrutiny, this isn't like doing minor league baseball.
Okay.
I'll
give you that.
21 years old, he's not even... doesn't even have a college degree yet.
Yeah, you're right. Most people that I look at 26 years old, I consider children. When we're talking about someone even younger than that.
Think about yourself at 21 years old.
Yeah, I was a baby.
Yes. And to put yourself in the position to have a job like this and not...
Yeah, where you have to show up and you have to fucking take a flight out and all this stuff. You're right. And I didn't know that, so I appreciate that.
And not be terrible at it, because he was very good. And
yeah,
I think he's a guy that's going to work with Kevin, and Kevin's going to kind of tutor him here and there, and probably has a lot of conversations with him. Because, like I said, I felt like Kevin wasn't just going to hand it off to. He probably took pride in wanting to vet whoever they were going to hire, and I thought he did fine. And I know he's got a learning curve, and he's the first one to tell you that. So, yeah.
Yeah, the thing I tweeted was that he has a long ways to go, but that he's off to a great start.
Yeah, of course.
And something I realized is we talk about gatekeepery and stuff, and I realize how gatekeepery I am about this position because of fucking Kevin Kelly. And, when you have Kevin Kelly for 6 years or whatever, it's just like, oh, dude, like, you don't even want anyone else.
You were spoiled.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. One is that in New Japan generally, except Ian Riccaboni, although he has matured too, he's much better than he was.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fake announcer voice. I get it in a way, but I feel like a lot of the best wrestling announcers learn to tone that down a little bit instead of doing the whole thing where So I would, his Twitter handle is like Silky Voice or whatever, or something like that, Velvet Voice, and he's got that great, kind of, I don't know how to. It's that sports broadcaster typical sound. I would tone that back because it's kind of in vogue in wrestling. Like we were talking about Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino, some of my favorite announcers of all time, and they didn't really do the whole and then he's moving. It's like they just kind of talked.
And that's the kind of thing where you're absolutely right. A lot of, if you hear old, especially like, I don't know, Tony Schiavone and all that, they would have that, and they always tone it down as they mature, and I think he'll do the same.
Well, Ian Riccaboni, I think, is the best example because he had that for years and really did the whole move here. And then now he kind of still, but he gets so passionate that he just talks like himself,
Yeah.
And that's why people heard him on Collision and were like, oh, bring him back.
Because I think a lot of times younger broadcasters do that to compensate for their lack of experience or their lack of
they have the voice. They have it. I could see that. Like, hey, I already got the voice.
As he gets more relaxed.
Yeah. And that's what I'd like.
So that was worried. 21, and the guy's. By the way, he's like 6'6".
That was another thing that I thought, and this is coming from a big guy myself. Is there's kind of, I guess this is New Japan, but and Jim Ross is even kind of a big guy, but in like WWE they have kind of a deal about how their announcers look and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't think that's any kind of thing in New Japan, right? I mean, Kevin Kelly was a bigger dude, and no,
I think it has zero
effect on things.
No,
as long as he performs.
And he's not a guy that's doing stand-up interviews with wrestlers anyway, so I could see you're saying, well, he's taller than all these wrestlers. That's a bit of a concern.
Look, I know wrestling is a very look-based industry. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, but
and
not with
again,
announcers.
this in New Japan.
In New Japan, or everywhere but WWE, really.
Yeah. I guess it just depends. Yeah, you're right. I guess, and there's a deeper context. There's a deeper talk we can have there about wrestling and, the stereotypes that wrestling companies do make. But again, maybe that's just WWE because as we've been fans, we've realized that WWE is influenced so much that we've got to realize they're not the final say, right? Like just because they do it doesn't mean it's normal, right?
No. Exactly.
So, but some other things about Walker is I followed him. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
And very active on Twitter, just talking up New Japan. Oh, do you guys like this move? Do you like?
And I like
Second
that.
of all, I like that. Also, he says that he's doing video editing for New Japan too. So
good for him.
Hell yeah. No, he said, I'm not just an announcer, I'm an editor. And he's editing some videos of Despy and stuff like that. So
and see, that's the exact kind of
thing. That extra money. That's a younger mindset too.
Yeah, and I don't. I feel like they're not paying him a lot to do what he's doing.
Oh, probably,
but
probably not. He's not Kevin Kelly. He's 21, dude. They're gonna pay him as little as possible.
He's probably getting like $2,000 a trip or something. But I think,
well, they're gonna pay for his flight though. At least.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I feel like they needed a guy that's gonna be real active on social media and it's gonna drum of excitement, and he's totally that guy.
Yeah, and the person that's probably I don't know how New Japan works, but I'm guessing that Chris has a lot of say in a lot of this stuff too.
Yeah, we've all guessed what his exact role is with the company, but I think he's pretty ingrained.
Well, look, he almost got kicked off of fucking commentary, and the company made an executive order to put him back on commentary.
Maybe did that have a lot to do with Kevin Kelly wanting him?
Yeah, for sure. But I was just saying he's important in that way. And
I
obviously
think he does a lot of obviously stuff too.
He's learned a lot from Kevin Kelly, and his announcing is just great, telling the stories, including the story of, say, John Moxley versus O'Khan. Now, I want to talk about that. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
John Moxley versus O'Khan was one of the worst matches I've ever seen. It was an immediate count out.
Well, then they changed.
They started. Well, hang on. I'm talking about the first match. Mm-hmm. They started brawling outside of the ring, and it was an immediate count out, and the match was over.
Yeah.
One of the worst matches of the year. I'd give it a 1 out of 5. What do you say about the next match after this?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
And they immediately restarted, right?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it a little bit to the people?
It was basically, one of those walk-in brawls. And, of course, Moxley bled. And they cut off the ponytail. I thought it was fun.
Do you have more to say about it?
No. What more is there? What?
I do.
Okay.
I do. First of all, the one of the best parts about this matches was that we talked about COVID earlier. This was like the first match like this since COVID. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the first, but I'm not gonna lie, dude. This was a total crowd interaction. Get the fuck off your seat. Give me your chair. I'm talking. I probably 100 Japanese people were displaced during this match, right?
Yeah. Minimum.
And I loved it. I loved it. I loved the Oketsu Kudasai. Yeah. The whole match, because we're talking each dude was thrown into the crowd of people. They had to move 20 people out of the way, and you were having guys thrown into entire chair configurations.
It was so much fun.
I thought it was Now, one of the funniest parts of it was at the end when Moxley won. Marty Asami he's so short that he went to stand on a chair and, say, match over, right? Mm-hmm. But he tripped on the chair. The chair fell over and he fell down because it was like a pile of chairs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was pretty great, too. So, yeah, this match, you probably had 100 Japanese people that had to get new seats. You had chairs, like playing bowling with chairs, right?
Right. It was fun.
And then the hair thing, too. But the hair thing was a little minimal because it was like half of the ponytail.
Yeah, he still had plenty left.
Yeah.
But still
I see
fun.
That the announcer had it. The announcer was given the braid. Did you know that?
Maybe he was going to donate it to Locks of Love or something.
Well, he was holding it with chopsticks, and the first Japanese commenter said, "I wonder how it tastes." So from that match, we moved on to the junior tag match. What do you think?
Another really good match. I mean, Catch 22 is just a really great tag team. And
they're just great. And Kanemaru is great.
Yeah.
And shows a good heel. He's better as a babyface, but these guys kicked ass. And like you said, Catch 22, like, God, TJP at his age, he just wrestles like a young man. He looks like a young man. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I mean, he's like one of the unsung heroes. Just
how long is he going to go for?
I mean, he's in his late 30s, so probably can go at least a few more, like, I don't know, 7-8 years. Like
he's in his late 30s. Yeah. I think the reason he seems so old is just because he started so young, right? Like at 16 young. Or whatever.
Yeah.
So these guys like Rocky Romero, you can go back and watch Rocky Romero versus Okada in like 2000 whatever in fucking Mexico. Go watch that guy. See, Okada weighs like 120 pounds, you know?
TJ Perkins is 39 years old. Jeez.
Well, you know, he's kind of like that Omega late bloomer, but like been around a while and
I mean, not late
still
bloomer,
kicking ass.
Late just
I mean, I didn't watch him when he was in his 20s, brother.
I mean,
but he was in WWE and shit, right?
Yeah, he was in that Cruiserweight Classic.
No, I mean before that.
I don't know where he was. He was like a PWG regular and stuff like that. I know that. And
dude, why do you think him? Why do you think him and Brian Kendrick won those championships? Because they were in WWE in the past, right?
He did Ring of Honor too. No, I don't think he was ever in WWE until he went to.
Oh wow! Okay.
Into the
until that Classic. Cruiserweight thing. Yeah. Okay, you're right. Yeah, that's pretty surprising. Yeah, unlike Evan Bourne.
Well, I mean, honestly,
you know who that is?
Yeah, Matt Sydal, right?
Yeah.
I really think when they did this Cruiserweight Classic, they really went all out to find guys that never would usually be WWE, and they totally did it for people.
Well, they took that. That was like the one tournament they took totally serious. Yeah, they got like literally all the best people under 205. Like it wasn't a WWE thing. It was like they literally grabbed like every indie wrestler that was, you know what I mean?
From Zack Sabre Jr. to Ibushi to Metalik, all those. I mean, it was incredible. Like I don't think I really appreciated it for what it was back then.
I kind of did, but I also knew that like it was going to be some bullshit, and it was. I mean, Brian Kendrick won the whole thing.
No.
But
CJ Perkins did.
Huh?
The Cruiserweight Classic?
Yeah.
Yeah, TJ Perkins won.
Okay.
I don't even think Brian Kendrick was in it.
Well, then what am I thinking about Brian Kendrick? Yeah, you're right. Maybe it's that he won the championship soon after. I'm getting mixed up. Yeah, you're. Yeah, and I remember thinking like there was some bullshit there, but you're right. Yeah, TJP won. Having a weird time around that period though, with like people saying he weighed too much. Some weird shit going down there. I don't know. Maybe just one of those guys that not really a big fan of the whole WWE.
Who's that?
TJP.
Yeah, well, I know that he kind of left. There was rumors that like he showed up with a bunch of tattoos and didn't tell anyone, and they got upset at him and fired him. But I don't know. He kind of denied that. But
well, there was talk about him having like not working out and shit too. I don't know. Okay.
Not working out like physically or like just from a
physically.
Oh,
like gaining weight.
Huh.
Although if I was in WWE, I would probably gain some fucking weight too, dude.
In the catering every day?
No, I'm talking about like just wanting to get bigger.
Oh, right.
Yeah. I mean, there was a whole thing about fucking Rey Mysterio weighing like 70 pounds more than it needs to. Okay, Takahashi versus Ishimori. I thought this match was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was great.
It was awesome. It was what a classic.
Definitely
Takahashi and
the best of their matches they've had.
I think that the best of the Super Junior finals when Takahashi got thrown down the stairs was still my favorite.
That was good too. Yeah, both really good.
But I at first I was like, Takahashi's wrestling. I'm not that interested. I was like, oh shit, he's wrestling Taiji Ishimori. I was like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm watching this thing.
Yeah, and it was Ishimori, I was like one of those. It seemed like it was just kind of a retread, but it was really good.
When you think about who's wrestling, you immediately realize it's a must watch. I mean, Ishimori is hot and cold. He's mainly good, but he's known to have stinkers with the wrong person. But we know that him and Takahashi are just like, they know what's up. God, and Hiromu's fucking his lariats, just like, talk about underrated. Like people are like, they always.
I'm a Hiromu guy, you know that.
Well, how could you not be? I mean, people talk about Shingo's lariats, but Takahashi just, since he's wrestling with juniors, it just looks like he murders them. And I love the finish with the roll up.
Yeah, that was cool.
The nameless Hiromu roll is what we call it. So,
yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, that was overall, we're talking about a pretty good night of wrestling. So,
oh, dude, you know what, man? This Power Struggle was such great New Japan, and I mean, like, this was one of the best shows I've seen in so long. And I mean, now I didn't watch Dominion, okay, so I missed that one. Maybe I should have, but this match was just this show. Like, I got off work and got to watch it, so it reminded me of like getting off work and your favorite football games on TV. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got off work and I turned it on, and man, I had a great night this night, and it was topped off by Ospreay versus Shota.
Yeah. Unbelievable. This match was unbelievable, and it's definitely...
It was unbelievable.
Given me a lot of match of the year vibes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go back and watch, because that first Ospreay Omega match also, like, I was like in shock after that. But this, I could not believe, like take what you thought this match should be, multiply it by about 3 or 4. The counters, the unpredictability of this match, the physicality of the match, the violence at times.
Yeah.
And this was just like,
and
the storytelling, especially with their matches back in England. This was a long match. It was a serious match. We want to talk about any of your favorite parts or more stuff you liked about this?
I mean, I really felt like they could have let Shoto go over in this. I think it's time.
Yeah.
And I was a little disappointed.
And we'll see.
Well, wasn't a big fan of what they had happen afterwards either.
It's funny that you say that, because Meltzer said it is the best angle he's seen in months and months and months.
I'm not,
and I also was not a huge fan, but he brings up the point that any company has to look out for their future.
Yeah, but they didn't, because I think Ospreay's got one foot out the door, and Shoto's your future. I don't think it's David Finlay or Jon Moxley.
I think Finlay in the immediate... Well, yeah, I think Finlay in the immediate time, and then maybe... Shota is so young, bro.
He's 26. He's not old. He's not...
I know, but you can give him...
He's not you can still give him the announcer.
You could still give him 2 or 3... Yeah, but we already admitted that's a fucking random...
They're going to need him now. They're going to lose a lot of people next year. Naito's having another eye surgery. Dude, you have Shota. You have Tsuji. Yeah, use them now.
You have Okada.
Tsuji's 30.
Look, I'm sure this stuff's going to happen soon, but, and I'm not saying this is the best idea at all either, but not Jay White. I'm so used to saying that. Finlay broke the belts apart, so they're going to have a new belt, whatever that may be. It's the rehash of the Intercontinental.
Or whatever they said it's going to be another title. I don't think it's going to be IC.
Red Belt 3 or whatever. So we're going to have Ospreay versus... But also we are getting Moxley at Tokyo Dome too, so don't pretend that's not awesome, even though he's going to lose. He could win.
I just got, I get an alert when PWG tweets, so I got kind of a breaking news about them, if you'd like me to read it. I'd imagine this is Super Dragon or someone talking about it, but I don't know if you've kind of realized, but PWG hasn't really run a lot of shows this year, outside of
I do know that.
Battle of Los Angeles, and then they did another one a few months ago, but they haven't really run that much.
Well, yeah, one of the people that runs the company works for a wrestling company now.
No, well, yeah, that's part of it, but I think it's not just him that does it. I think a lot of it is still Super Dragon that runs a lot of that stuff.
So did he say an excuse or an explanation?
He just said, I know a lot of you have been wondering what is going on with PWG and why there has been many events this year. My girlfriend has been very sick and battling an aggressive cancer since earlier this year. It's been incredibly difficult for me to focus on anything else. Recently, things took a turn for the worse, and I need to take some time away from wrestling. There will be no.
I thought we were talking about Ospreay versus Shota.
No, I just got this alert over my phone, so I thought we're
just now.
Yes.
Just now.
Yes.
Okay, so this is an emergency notification. Yeah. Here's what's going on with PWG, guys. Listen.
Yeah.
His girlfriend has cancer.
Yeah. Recently, things took a turn for the worse, and I need to take some time away from wrestling. There will be no more PWG events this year. We will return as soon as possible in 2024. Thank you for your support. So
it's horrible.
Yeah, sorry, Super Dragon. That's, I'm assuming, who it is. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why we haven't seen a lot, or that is the reason we haven't had a lot of PWG this year, when they usually run about every, I don't know, at least every 2 months, if not every
And you being a
weeks.
California boy, too, you kind of notice these things. You've been to a bunch of them.
When they've only had 3 the entire calendar year, that's very little. Usually they're about 6 or 7 deep by now.
You know what's kind of fucked up too is, this is wrestling, and where in wrestling, if one wrestler is injured or takes some time off for whatever reason, another wrestler will try to take their spot. Now I hate to say this, but I know PWG is kind of historical at this point. I wonder if other indie companies are, trying to get it more into this indie all-star kind of game. But I don't know.
GCW certainly comes to
GCW, yeah.
Yeah, they're trying.
But there's a huge difference between GCW, a touring brand, and I'm going to say your CMLL compared to your GCW, where it's like, Gorilla.
Well, let's be honest too. PWG is not.
PWG, sorry.
PWG is not.
That's what I no. That's why I'm comparing it to CML. I'm saying they have their shows in their space, and they do their shows only in their space, and people go fucking watch it because it's always awesome. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone else is replicating that besides PWG and obviously CMLL, who does it even better than PWG. But I love that idea, just wrestling in one spot and people come to see you.
Yeah, and like I said,
who else can do that?
When I went to PWG, people literally come from all over the country to go to PWG.
Shit. I'm sure there's going to be a few people there out of country.
Yeah, they might make it out there. Like, there's people that live on the East Coast that fly out to LA every time PWG runs just to see it.
That's something I realized going with you to this WrestleMania fan meetup is a lot of wrestling fans have a lot of money to spend on wrestling.
Or they choose to spend their money on wrestling and not.
It's still a lot sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's about what you spend your money on, right? Not how much.
I don't know. I met like 3 or 4 people that got the fan experience and met all the wrestler stuff. But you're right. If you can save it, put it aside, throw it on that per year, and that's what you like, well, fucking good for you.
A lot of people can just, go online and get a $3,000 credit card and max it out for a weekend too. Keep that in mind.
That's fair.
There's a lot of irresponsible things that people will do to have fun too.
Great point, Justin. That's kind of how I pay for us our space on this podcast, for our internet space. I've maxed out my $2,000 credit card for this.
I hope you have it. Really?
Thank God we get... No, God. I just pay per month. It's not much. Yeah, so stepping back, yeah, that's sad about Super Dragon. Yeah. Hope the best for him and his family. The Will Ospreay match we both agreed was great. Match of the year contender. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to watch it again. I'm gonna have to watch a bunch of stuff coming up here. Before we get out of here, though, I wanted to tell you about my sports betting fiasco.
Yeah, man, I saw you doing that.
You're worried. I know you're worried.
I am not a betting guy, and I don't like sports bet. I mean, I've made my bets on sports. Don't get me wrong. Very few, and I hate gambling, but I've done it for fun here and there. I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. One thing I tell people, I watch NFL, I watch Major League Baseball, I watch hockey, I'm a huge sports fan. And there's one thing that I don't like these days, and I don't like how mainstream sports betting has gotten. I don't like that.
I actually agree with you, and that is part of the reason I kind of did it, is because so many people do it now that I kind of fell into the and also I agree in the sense that it's not sports betting per se, Justin. There's a combination of sports betting and sports betting advertising.
That has
become legal.
Yes.
And if you can't advertise cigarettes on TV, right? We know that. You haven't seen a cigarette ad since maybe your whole life, or since you were a baby.
I mean,
so
definitely it's been a while, but
it was that same way for gambling for many years, but now it's changed, and there is a ridiculous proliferation of ads for betting now.
And I don't like them, when I watch the pregame shows and just hearing sports analysts talk about the spread and parlay bets.
You're not trying to watch that. You're not trying to hear about that on your preview shows.
I don't like that there's pro sports teams in Las Vegas either.
Come on. It's a huge city, dude. It's a huge city that deserves to have.
But it's just right at the front of the whole gambling thing, and where other place to corrupt than Vegas,
Yeah, but that's
what kept them from having one for so long.
Look, and I agree.
You couldn't bet on like UNLV games, like they wouldn't.
I have a whole thing about that too. I really don't like how much you can bet on college. You can bet on a college game that has like 3 people watching it.
And now ESPN is telling their writers, like their beat writers, that get a lot of inside scoops and all that stuff, that they don't want them betting. They're not allowed.
So fuck.
No, I'm just saying that like it's become so mainstream that I don't know. I don't like hearing the DraftKings commercials. I think it's irresponsible, to be honest. And
look, Justin, you can smoke cigars. You can smoke cigars once every couple months, or you can smoke them every day. Some people don't have problems with it. Many people do. Yeah. I do think the ads are annoying, but I think having a blanket dislike for it all, it's not going to work in this society, because it's become you're just going to be angry all the time.
I'm just saying I don't like it. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they have to stop it.
So when I sent you those texts, did you think like, oh God, not him too?
No, well.
You must have a little bit. Like, oh, fuck.
No. Because it was just like, oh, he's sports bets now? Like, it was more of like, do you know enough about what these games and stuff to make bets?
So the answer is no. And also, I went and watched a bunch of videos on people who ruin their lives on sports betting.
And that made you interested to do it yourself?
No, actually. No. I watched those when I started doing it. I was like, all right, what behaviors would show that I was like being irresponsible? Now, I will say there is some cool stuff. There are some legal stuff. The betting companies, one is, this, they have to give you tons of resources to not bet anymore or to quit betting.
They're
legally required to. And so what happens is you call 1-800-STOP-BETTING and they're like, hey, do you want to stop betting? You're like, yeah. They're like, are you sure? There's a really good parlay today. So that's that. No, that doesn't really happen. But the other thing is that they did let me say how much money they were allowed to take from me per month, which is kind of cool. But anyone could just get a new app, you know?
Sure, of course.
So the thing that kind of made me, that I liked about it, bro, is they give you so much free money to fuck with. And then I fucked with the free money and then I just deleted the app. So that's what I did.
Good job.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do 3 of these apps, get free money, and then delete them. So I already tried one. I lost all my money because everyone loses their money. Statistically, dude, like 99.9% of people will lose their money, right?
Yeah, otherwise, those things wouldn't be in business.
Exactly. It wouldn't make any sense at all.
House always wins in the long run.
House always wins. And especially with sports, especially on certain sports like college sports where they're almost unpredictable. For example, I put money on Air Force, right? I put some, when I say funny money, I mean their money, but if I win it, I get the cash. And they do this to keep you gambling, right?
Or they do it to draw you in.
To draw you in, yeah. They're like, oh, this feels so good. We want you with this free money. But like I said, I used the free money, deleted the app, and I did make $20 off of their free 75, which shows how it works, right? So I did a few of the bets, and no, I don't know enough about the sports, but also even if you know a fuckload about the sports, Justin, you're still going to end up probably not winning.
Exactly.
Because the Kings were supposed to win that game the other day. Yeah. They're the best team in the NHL. Or the Golden Knights.
Right.
Golden Knights. And I mean, there's stuff like that. And also, it's just so random. So, look, man, I'm having a little fun using their funny money. I've put $10 all together in about a month, and I've deleted the apps. But all my friends said, like, oh, if my friends were like, oh, if you had me, I'll give you this much money. And it worked and shit. And, there's some fun little stories, but I rarely have bet my own money, and I'm about to be done with the last app. So if I'm still doing it in 8 months, we'll see. But I like money, bro. I've been to Vegas a bunch of times, Justin, and every time I bet, like I immediately am like, oh, this isn't for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't like the fact that I can instantly lose my money.
Oh, dude, I went up to $70 in Vegas and then lost it all in the matter of like 20 minutes. And I just stopped betting the whole week I was there after that.
Oh, you did?
So, yeah. But hey, you can always go to bet in Los Angeles too, right? The Matrix Casino.
What?
Yeah, there's all sorts of casinos in LA, bro.
Well, yeah, I know that.
But yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree with you on all that, Justin. I'm playing with their funny money for now. And I am trying to be aware of any type of, one of the things they say, if you're gambling on fucking like ping pong in the middle of the night, like you got a fucking problem.
Yeah, I would say so.
It does make the games a little more fun though, because I'm not a sports guy though, bro. So I will say putting the fake 25 on the Avalanche, that game was pretty fun for me to watch. So, but I understand how that could create that dopamine hit, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge rush that people are drawn to, and there are people that do it successfully for a living that are about as expert as you can be about
I don't think there is, Justin. I think those people are just already millionaires who can have money to lose, brother.
No, there are some people that do it as at least a significant like second income.
I've heard that there's no such thing as a betting side hustle. There's only such thing as a betting addiction. But I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't know. But that's just hey, like I said, we'd save this talk for the air. If you're listening, tell me what you think about betting. Do you have your parlay hitting this weekend? Or does your pastor want you to stop? Is your wife begging you to stop? You can't afford diapers because you spent it all on the Browns. Let us know. Also, you can bet on wrestling too, but I'm not going to tell you where.
Bet on the Browns. Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, you can bet on wrestling. And I was looking at the odds and I would have lost, bro. Because they said who would have won, John Cena or
Sikoa.
What's his name? Sikoa?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, John Cena's going to beat his ass, but John Cena lost.
It was funny. I was, went over and saw my uncle and my grandma today.
Uh-oh.
And, he was saying it was beautiful. He said he loves seeing Cena get his ass kicked like that.
Does he?
Yeah.
He watched Crown Jewel?
Yeah. My grandma watched all of it too. And she was asking me, she's like, why doesn't Roman Reigns wrestle in shorts? He's so handsome.
He used to.
And you like when you want him.
You know what the answer is, right?
What?
It's because he was in the Shield, dude, and all the Shield guys.
Oh no, yeah,
wrestle except Seth Rollins. They all wrestle in that gear now.
Yeah, I know. And she's like, and I was like, "What do you want him to wear, Speedos?" She's like, "Yeah, why not? I'd love to see him in Speedos."
Show him his Florida stuff.
Yeah.
He does. He wears his little tights,
Yeah, he did for a while, but it was just kind of funny that she was like, "Why is
that is funny." Can you imagine him looking like a young boy out there?
She's like, the other ones wear shorts like that. Why can't he?
Yeah. Well, some guys do. Some guys. It's a weird thing. Like some really good-looking guys just never wear shorts. Some guys do it. Well, Punk switched it up. I like that. Punk would always wear something different.
I was telling her that, it took him forever just to get him to not wear the vest.
True.
So, you're lucky you see that much.
Exactly. Coming up, we got a lot to talk about. Lone Star Shootout was tonight, Justin. We didn't talk about it, but it sounded like there was some great stuff. Stephanie Vicaire, supposedly amazing against Iwatani, mind you.
Yeah,
I also heard that
the Japanese commentary is on live right now.
Yeah, no, well, the show's done. It's been done for a while.
Hours,
they did the Japanese. Yeah, so you had...
it was today, November 10th.
It was today, but it's not live now, is what I'm saying.
Right, but you can watch the Japanese... Usually it takes a couple days with the pay-per-view stuff for it to make it on, or a week or so.
Yeah.
So you can watch it now.
Yeah, so I heard that was pretty good. You had Eddie Kingston. You had Fred Rosser versus Tom Lawler, actually, which sounds like a classic NJPW strong rematch.
Yeah.
So some kind of good stuff there. I'm looking forward to that. We've got Survivor Series coming up. War Games. I think they might be doing the women's War Games from SmackDown tonight. Okay. They had all the Japanese women on one team with Bayley. So you had, Kairi Sane, Io Sky, and Asuka with Bayley.
Ooh, okay.
That could be good. War Games, I would love to see that. The domination of women in WWE, Japanese women in WWE.
Yes.
We also, coming up soon, we have Full Gear, which looks to be a pretty fucking awesome show. We didn't talk about AEW this week, although I have a lot of feelings on that too. I feel AEW has been good, and I feel like there's way too much online hatred for it, but we will talk about that another time. So Full Gear coming up. We have Omega and Chris Irvine versus the Young Bucks and other good stuff. Jay White versus MJF and a lot of cool stories in AEW with the Devil, and we will see who that is because I'm pretty excited about all that. The Adam Cole thing, a lot of stuff going on there, and the women's division too with a lot of interesting stuff. Julia Hart, Sky Blue. So we'll see what's going on. And two new signings, which is the two girls from Stardom. The girl that that Mariah May. I sent you her video. Did you watch that?
When did you send that?
It was her like saying goodbye to Japan.
Oh yeah, I think I
didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just got signed by AEW.
Wow. Well, they're trying to beef it up.
She went. Well, they're sending girls to Stardom to train for like 6 months first. Okay. So very smart, very smart. Yeah. Mariah May, and some more we'll see coming up here in beefing up that women's division. A lot of stuff to talk about. But for now, thank you for listening. Justin, thank you for being here, brother. We got an hour and a half in. Nice. That's Friday, dude. I'm telling you, we got more energy.
Yes, sir.
All right. And if anything's going on, hit me up this weekend. You going to any games?
Well, Kings game tomorrow, and
cool.
Yeah.
Who they play?
Philly.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, they should win that game, so hopefully.
I think so. Hey, real quick question. How often do the West Coast teams play the East Coast teams?
Once a year. They go they visit there, and they, one on the road, one at home.
Do you play... Wait, you play every East Coast team once a year?
They play every team in the league every year. So...
Okay, but you're in your division, how often do you play them?
I have to look. But it's like maybe 4 or 5 times. 4 times you play, something like that. 4 to 6 times you play each team in your division every year.
Okay.
And in the conference...
But the other teams, you will hit every team once.
Yes. Yeah, every team at least twice.
So the Kings is playing the Canucks.
They play the Canucks probably 4 or 5 times a year.
Oh, okay, because they're in the same division.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, thank you for educating me, brother.
In the Western Conference, they play a few times too, but then the Eastern Conference, they always play home and home.
Florida Panthers.
They'll play the Florida Panthers this week. Actually, they play them next week. And that's the only time they'll come to LA all year. But then the Kings will go play them in Florida at one point during the year.
So you have a chance to watch every single team play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's a nice little cool thing about your seats.
I don't go to every game because we share them with my friend, and we sometimes we take our kids or whatever. But I probably went to about 30 games last year. 30 to 35 games last year out of the 42.
Yeah, that's a pretty damn good deal right there, dude. Fuck. Yeah. Okay, well, cool. Keep us updated, bro. Go Kings, unless playing the Knights. All right, well, have a good night, Justin. Huh?
Nothing.
That's what I thought. Okay, have a good night, Justin. And you know what? We will see you guys later.